Alrighty, it is Thursday, August 14th, and I've been remiss in doing daily updates, but I thought this morning I'd do a little bit of a catch up and cover some of the things that have been going on. Alright, so let's go inside first. And let's talk about garage doors. Yeah, I think I have decided that I'm going to send this garage door back and order a different one. And the reasons is as follows. First, it's not really compatible with a wall-mounted garage door opener, and I really need to use a wall-mounted garage door opener because trying to mount a trolley system up here would be difficult, and doing a wall-mounted garage door opener here or over here is just so much easier and straightforward. It just makes sense that in this situation where I've got a wall here and such a high ceiling, that a wall-mounted garage door opener is the way to go. So this door, technically speaking, can be made compatible with a wall-mounted garage door opener, but you need to buy an extra $300 conversion kit thing. And it looked to me, when I looked at it, like some sort of Rube Goldberg device with a giant sprocket and all kinds of other stuff. I'm like, nah, I don't want to deal with that. I want to just get a garage door that's already out of the box compatible with a wall-mounted garage door opener. So that's number one. Number two is this door is also not compatible with something called the green hinges, and you can see that these hinges here, they're very squarish or rectangular-ish here, and the green hinges, what they do, as far as I can tell, it's an upgrade to the hinge, and it's a spring-mounted system such that it applies tension to the vertical track through the roller and keeps the garage door pushed towards the opening and against the outside weather stripping. So it helps to maintain a seal of the weather stripping against the garage door from the outside. And honestly, I really want a good seal on this garage door. So this garage door simply won't support that at all. No way, can't do it. So if I'm going to go with this green hinge system, and you can, if you're curious, you can look it up on YouTube, or just go to any browser and type in garage door green hinges, and it'll show up. Same with Amazon. If you're on there, you can just type in green hinge garage door hinges, and you can actually take a look at them. Yeah, they're definitely a bit more robust, and they have this extra feature of the spring mount tensioning system that holds it against the outside weather stripping to keep a nice seal. And there's some videos of people who have installed them, and it does look like it does actually help a little bit. So I would like to upgrade to a garage door that already allows for these hinges to be installed on the doors. And the problem with this one here is the hinges, they go like further up and further down along the mounting plate here, and this bar here simply, it'll be right in the way of the hinge. So you can't actually mount those hinges on these garage doors. The third reason is this right here. I'm looking at the bottom of the garage door. This is like the seal. So when the garage door closes, it pushes up like that and seals against the concrete at the bottom. And I don't know a lot about garage doors, but I gotta think that there's a better mechanism to seal the garage door against the concrete at the bottom. This looks like it would wear out fairly quickly, would not be very robust against, weather, water, bugs, mice, whatever. In fact, the guy that delivered the garage door said, these things, the mice will chew right through them. So I'm looking for a new garage door that has something a bit more robust to seal against the concrete at the bottom of the garage door. So they're going to pick these up on Saturday, and I still have some research to do to find a different garage door. I'm also going to go with a 12-foot wide garage door, and that way it basically fills the width of this opening, and I won't have to build any wing walls on either side to make up for the space. This was a 9-footer, so I would have had to build a wall 1.5 feet up to here and 1.5 feet up to here, and then sheathe it with aluminum there and there. If I just go with a 12-foot wide garage door that goes from there to there, I don't have to worry about any of that. So those are the basic reasons that I'm going to send this garage door back and order something else. So that could be another, God knows, 6-8 weeks before a new garage door arrives. So I got some time left to deal with that. So I'm going to be sticking with my tarps for the moment. All right, enough about garage doors. Let's talk about concrete. Let's go outside. So we were having some good weather, and it was fairly dry, and I decided I would actually go and start to do the second coat of the Bondo on the northern face of the Quonset hut. So you can see this came out pretty well. I was very, very happy with it. And I think with each successive coat of Bondo, you need less because there's less volume to fill within the horizontal ribs here. So there, there's a little bit of a space in between here that gets filled with the Bondo. And so with the second coat, we're almost completely flat here. So that's looking pretty good. I only got down to, I don't know, I think I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 left to go. And we started having rain. And it looks like we're going to have rain every day for the next 10 days at least. And in order to do the Bondo, it needs to be dry because I really don't want to trap any moisture behind the Bondo. So you got to have a couple of days of really dry weather so that all the water can just, evaporate out of there, dry really well, and then you got a good bonding surface for the Bondo. The next thing I did was I decided to go ahead and use a concrete cleaner all along here. So I put the concrete cleaner on there, which is actually the rust converter. So I'm using the actual rust converter to clean the concrete. So I put it all along here, I did the whole thing, and I actually scrubbed with a wire brush and then hosed it off. And it looks pretty good. I mean, I was very happy with how well it cleaned the concrete and how well it left it. But what was interesting was that now, since it's pretty clean, you can actually see what they did. I guess I should have just understood this from the beginning. But what they did was they've got the concrete slab here at the bottom. And then you can see there's like a crack or a line or where they poured a second slab over top of it, and it's angled up a little bit towards the Quonset hut. And that's obviously to allow water to shed off the, the concrete into the ground when it rains. But what they didn't figure on was the fact that, all these dead leaves and branches and stuff would build up in here. Look, I mean, it's only been, 24 hours and it's already starting again. And it just gets stuck in there and holds moisture. And that was really the root cause of all the rust that formed right at the bottom here. So these leaves and twigs and stuff get stuck in there. They built up, they hold the water. And, if you get a rush of water coming down, it might run off. But all of the regular moisture that stays within the leaves and the twigs is way more than enough to cause the rust to happen here. So, yeah, the second coat of Bondo, I think it looks good. It almost screams for a third coat, because I think a third coat would complete it. There's just, couple of these second coats, it's just a little bit of holes, or not holes, but volume to fill to make it nice and flat. So a third coat, maybe sand it real quick and do a third coat, would complete it. And then I actually did put a concrete sealer on it. It's the penetrating kind of sealer. It's water-based. It's just really, I mean, the consistency is like water. Let's move out. And it has no odor as far as I could smell. And it just goes on like, you paint it on. They really say you should spray it on, but I just used a paintbrush to put it on. And supposedly that seals it. But I did get some moisture even after the second coat of Bondo in a few locations. So for example, was it 1, 2, 3? It's right here. I'm getting some moisture on the back side. I don't know if it's because of this little hole here that's getting water in there, or maybe it's actually wicking in through the crack here. All the water comes down, gets in there, and it just seeps its way into there through that crack between the top pour of concrete and the slab below. So there is a product that will seal concrete cracks. There's a couple different forms of it. One's like a powder that you put on, and then you just wet it down, and it seals it. It forms like a hard pack on top. And then there's also some stuff that's like a caulk that you can just squirt into a crack. So that would be good for here. I'm not sure if that's the way I'm going to go or not. I think, well, I don't know. I got to think about this. But, maybe I'll do, I'm just thinking out loud here, I may do like the caulk along here, and then on top of that, do like a spray of Flex Seal. So I'll use an actual concrete crack sealer product that's made for sealing concrete. And then on top of that, I'll do the Flex Seal and see what happens. Hopefully that will solve all the moisture penetration problems. And what else I noticed was here, right at the interface between the metal and the concrete, when I was cleaning the concrete, I put the concrete cleaner down, I painted it down, I let it sit for an hour or so, and then I was actually scrubbing it with a wire brush, like all along here. And what amazed me was that this Bondo here never even flinched in terms of like coming off the concrete. So there's a really strong bond between the Bondo and the concrete, as well as the Bondo and the metal. Yeah, I mean, I was scrubbing like crazy, and it was just not even coming off. You can even see it's like scratched a little bit here, but it never peeled off on any of these. None of them. I mean, it just, yeah, it just wouldn't come off. So I'm actually thinking that maybe in the third coat of Bondo, I will fill in. I won't have such a harsh transition here, like where it comes down and then out. I'll actually let it fill in like a fillet all along the bottom here, so that water comes down and runs this way without sitting in this little crack here. So if it stays true and it bonds to the concrete as well as the cement, as well as the metal, then that should help, I would think. So yeah, decisions to be made still, and still work to do. But I think it's definitely looking much better, much cleaner than it did before. So yeah, that's an improvement. And let's see what else. I did do a little bit of work on the ladder to get up to the roof. I started to continue work on that. And that's what I have so far. I'm going to treat this as like a prototype, a working prototype, because while it does work, and I was able to step up and you know, actually use it, I couldn't get to the roof because it's not high enough, doesn't have enough steps. But the second one should probably get me high enough so that I can then walk onto the roof. But if I were to do it again, I would change the distance between these steps and the ground and in between steps. This is about 11 inches, maybe 11 and a half. I'd cut it down to maybe 9.5 or 10 inches. And the angle of these, this one seems pretty good, but I would probably tilt these down a little bit more so it would come this way, just to make it a little bit easier to step up onto. I also had to cut the width down. So this one's wide, and then each one of these gets a little bit thinner, although these two I think are the same width. So it's wide, a little bit thinner, a little bit more thinner, and then this is the same thickness here. But it still seems fairly comfortable to step up onto. So yeah, if I can get another one done of these and mount it on there, I think I can actually test it to see if it'll actually get me up to the roof comfortably. All right, what else? Yeah, I think that's kind of it for now. I got a good deal on some lumber, and I'm going to start making some shelving units that are on casters that will roll up against the curvature of the Quonset hut. So this will allow me to move these shelving units anywhere I want. There's a couple of different variations on it that I designed, some with 2 shelves, a top one and a bottom, some with 3, some that are 4 feet out from the base, some with 5 feet out from the base. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of variations on it. So I'm going to see how that works out. I'm going to use these 2x4s to start building that. That should go pretty quickly. That's really straightforward carpentry work. So we'll see how that goes. And then also I bought some 4x4s here, these guys here. And I'm going to start to make a lighting system for the front of the building. It's going to consist of like 3 posts here, here, and here. This will be like 4.5 feet, 3.5 feet, 2.5 feet, level on the bottom, and there'll be lights mounted behind it on the backside, and the whole thing will be sticking out from the building about 6 inches. So the light will shine onto the building and then bounce off rather than having light directly come out. So that should be interesting as well. I've also got everything painted all along here and here with at least 2 coats. So I need to do a 3rd coat here and a 3rd coat here, and then the paint on everything that you see painted will be 3 coats. So getting close. Getting up there is going to be a little bit more difficult. I'm going to have to set up the scaffolding in a different way, a little bit more stable. But yeah, I'll get up there when we get some dry weather. Don't think I'll be back to painting anytime soon because, like I said, we're going to have rain probably for the next 10 days at least. Not that we're going to have constant rain all day, but it is scheduled to rain at least partially each day for the next 10 days. So got that to deal with. All right, that's it for now. Hopefully I'll talk to you in the next one. Okay, Friday, August 15th. Thought I'd do a real quick update for the end of the week. Just got a few things to add. So let me flip the camera around. Okay, so you've seen this before. At this point though, I have done a 2nd coat of the concrete sealer, the kind that soaks into the concrete, not the surface kind. But I was able to use a sprayer and I sprayed it into this crack all the way along there. Hopefully that will wick its way into the separation between this top pour and the actual slab and help to seal that. I also sprayed each of these cracks along the way. There's quite a few of them. And then I also sprayed a 2nd coat just on the surface itself. So that's probably all I'm going to do with that, except I did buy a concrete crack sealer. It looks like it's like a caulk that comes in a gun, and I'm going to hit this crack with the actual concrete sealer caulk, I'll call it, as well as these cracks. And then we'll see, because we're about to get some rain for the next couple of days, and we'll see if it holds up. Well, we'll see if at least the concrete sealer 2nd coat plus the 2nd coat of Bondo all the way along. Yeah, I did actually finish the Bondo 2nd coat all the way to the end. So we're good to go. 2nd coat plus 2 coats of sealer plus spraying in this crack with the concrete sealer. So that's pretty good, but we're not done yet. Okay, let's move inside. I started to build these rolling shelf units. So this will be the bottom shelf. It'll get a sheet of 1/2-inch plywood over it. Each one will get a sheet of 1/2-inch plywood. And then this will be the bottom shelf with some caster wheels, so this whole platform can move around. But this first shelf will move up to about 3 feet and out, obviously to account for the curvature of the building on the inside. And then finally this 3rd shelf will also, I'm going to back this out a little bit. This 3rd shelf will come out to about 6 foot and come out again because of this curvature of the inside of the building. And each shelf will actually extend out a little further than this bottom one. So this one will come out maybe about 3 or 4 inches beyond this, and then this top one will come out another couple inches beyond this one, just to give me some extra space. And I seriously doubt if it's going to tip over, because you'd really have to mega load it on the front end of these 2 top shelves in order to even think about it tipping over. So it's just really a space thing to get as much shelf space as possible, considering that the back of the building does curve like that. So yep, that's the start of that. All I really need is the side pieces. There'll be some 2x4s that come up along the side to hold these shelves, and then the sheathing on top, and then the casters on the bottom. And then there'll be multiple of them, so I can put one here, one there, and they can all be shuffled around in any order that I need them to be. All right, well, I think that's it for this week. Can't really think of anything else other than maybe this lighting fixture. This will go up next week. I bought this on Amazon. It's going to be the light that we talked about, where if I need some extra bright lights for doing detail work on something, I'll be able to use these lights. There'll be actually 3 of them, one down there, one in the middle, and one up here. And they will just hang from some all thread that gets threaded into the extension nuts in the ceiling. So I've tested them out. They're pretty bright, but not so bright that you're like blinded by looking at them. They're just perfect. So we'll see what that looks like next week. All right, that's it for this week. Talk to you next week.